Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I apologize, I haven't been posting like I meaning to, but as you see behind me, this is some of my merch that I'm getting ready to launch on the 18th. And it's just been from sun up to sundown, trying to grind, trying to put everything together to make sure everything goes right. But I appreciate you guys always tuning in and checking me out. So I don't want to disappoint you. I know this video is going to upload a little late today, but I got a story for you guys because that's what you guys are here for, right? Some stories. I had mentioned back some of my early video about the homie Gato that used to be a TS and then ended up being an MA. I got a homie that reached out to me today that was the wrong Gato that I'm talking about, but there's a Gato that I was talking about that just got killed by the MS13 in around 2017, 2018. And that's a story that I'm gonna tell you about right now. Is about the ongoing war in there in the federal penitentiary. A lot of people don't realize, I always tell you guys that we're behind enemy lines. You trying to put all these different rival gangs in a penitentiary and hope they get along. But for the most part, we have rules and stuff in place so that we do get along. But there's just some people that are on site. Like you're never gonna get to see the Nostra Familia or a Black Hand on the same yard. They're mortal enemies. They have so much history that it's just not gonna happen. You know, and on the other side, out there in Texas, it's the Texas MA and the TS. I don't know if you guys look up YouTubes and stuff on related content according to this genre and stuff, but they have a long history. When I was in Florence, they had a dude that came in that was from Texas MA. But he's been out there in the state joint for the last 20 something years, and he completed that sentence and came to the feds. And the homie Rudy introduced me to him, and we was out at the sweat lodge, and me and him was chopping it up, and he was like, "Man," he goes, "it's weird." I said, "What's up?" He goes, "Man, in the state, we don't get along with the TS, but out here, I guess the Fed politics is different." And the reason that is because in Texas, the TS and the MAs, the Texas MA, they just got tired of being locked down because in the state joint they slam down. They can't come out of their cell. They're 23 and 1, but really it's 24 hours. Because I got a homie that's in there in the state right now in the Texas State Prison, and he's a high-ranking member of the Texas MA. He's been there since 2020, since July of 2020. He's been out of his cell 4 times. Think about that. That's 3 freaking years. And you've been out of your cell 4 fucking times. They're supposed to give you rec at least 3 times a week for an hour each time. But their excuse is if something happens on the compound, if something happens on the yard, they put a security issue on that and they can't run operations. And if anybody's been in the state out there in Texas, they funk down there. A lot of state joints are like that. you know. So he's been back there for 3 years, going on 4 years, and been out of his cell 4 times. And a few years back when Obama was president, they told him that they were going to do away with the solitary confinement and all that stuff. But I guess that's just for federal prison because the state didn't get that memo. But even the federal prison, you still got dudes that's locked down. ADX, the shoe, and all the rest of it. But going back to the story, this Gato here, I met him when we was in Lompop. He was already an old man. And when we got to Victorville, he got released from Victorville, like released to the streets. But he's been in the system all his whole life already. So when we went home, he just went right back to doing what he's doing. And since he's made a Black Hand, anything that happened in whatever area that ever any territory that they gave him, he's the head honcho. So when they all got indicted, he got swooped up on that indictment, and he was back in Victorville with us within a year. But in 2006, I left Victorville. I got caught up around December of 2005, and I got shipped out to Beaumont. So I haven't been around them. I haven't seen them since. I went back to Atwater in California in 2008, but in Atwater, California, for the community down there to allow Atwater to open up a USP, the BOP had to agree never to put a black hand there or a brand. A brand is the Aryan Brotherhood, the one out of California. I say that because, since then, there's been a lot of people that claim that they're AB and stuff, but you got these different branches out of different states. And I'm not taking nothing away from these other branches, these other brand dudes that call themselves Aryan Brotherhood. But when you speak of the brand, you're talking about the ones from California. And if anybody knows their history, they're feared and they're notorious. So I just want to make that the difference, let you guys know the difference between them. But during my time out in California, it's all Sureños and Black Hand. And through the course of my time, I've gotten to know a lot of them and befriended some of them. And some of the Black Hands, I can say with confidence that we're friends. Now, just get a little bit off track. When I first came home and started doing these videos and I shared some stories about them dudes, I had a couple of people that of a younger generation, but they're made men too. They're official. They got the Black Hand. One of them had to come out here to California, from California out here to Utah for a wedding or a funeral or some type of celebration or whatever. And they were asking about me. And he had ran into one of my homeboys, and they're like, man, hey, this dude that's out here from Utah named Mesa that's doing YouTube videos and stuff. And the homie was like, yeah, that's my homeboy. What's up? Like, oh man, he shouldn't be speaking on our politics, this and that. So my homie was like, man, we can call him right now, you know. So like at 2 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call, and the homie was like, hey man, I'm over here with this dude from California asking about you. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what's the problem? He's like, they got an issue with you out here speaking on them, speaking on their peoples and stuff. So I was like, well, what's the problem? You know, I need to come down there to see him, holler at him, what? And I was like, he's like, oh, let me talk to him. And, whatever they had conversation, they said he come back. It's like, well, who am I sitting out here feeling like I can share stories about these people that I've done time with? So we got to the point where, look, all you got to do is call these certain people over here and ask them about me. So I had to produce my credential. So when the homie relayed back the message, and I text them the people that I keep in contact with and stuff that are official, and the reply back from him was like, nah, he's good. So it's not a green light for me to continue telling my stories, but me sharing my stories about this specific organization is not an issue because, as you guys know, when you guys are following me, the stories I share, I'm always conscious of not really going into the politics and not sharing things that I've been privy to through the course of my bid. So I just wanted to mention that we got that out the way, and that, like I said, I'm not out here. I'm not one of these goofy dudes that's on YouTube looking up cases, looking up other incidents, and telling it like it's their own or anything like that. I give the dues to the people that got it coming. But again, if you a buster, I don't got no issue putting you out there. Fuck you, you know. But so going back to the story over here, and the things that I share with you are already resolved in public record. Maybe the public out here, the civilians out here, might not know anything about it. But as far as the investigations and the issues that go on in the penitentiary, that's already been resolved because there ain't no secrets in the penitentiary. You can't murk somebody and get away with it in a penitentiary, you know, or for the most part, you can't. So going back to this Gato that I know, he's an old man. You know, when I met him, he was already in his 60s. So in 2017, like I said, I have rapport with these individuals, you know, from being on the California yard for all the years that I spent over there, and I became friends with some of them. But when I was in hit Florence in 2017, I think around 2018, because I when I got to Florence, you know, I got jumped, got in a fight over there, and I was in the shoe for about 7 months before they let me back out. So when they let me back out, it was already towards the end of 2017, and so it's either between late 2017 or early 2018. I got word that Gato had got killed, and he got killed by MS-13. So I today, you know, before I got on here and shared the story with you, I hit up one of my homeboys that's still locked up just to find out exactly why and what's going on down there. Well, as you know, when the border opened up, there's been a lot of MS-13 that's coming over across the border, and these dudes are from El Salvador. But MS-13 have always existed here in America, mainly out in California. But the MS-13 that's out in California, they have a kind of alliance with the I mean, with the California Mafia, the Mexican Mafia, the Black Hand. But the ones from El Salvador don't want nothing to do with it. So when they start hitting the penitentiary, they got indicted about 10 years ago. They swooped up a bunch of them out of the East Coast. I think if the numbers were right, we're like 50 of them. So they started entering the federal system. So when they're in the feds, you know, they got the 13 on their face. They're MS-13, and 13 stand, you know, as far as for the Black Hand and the Sureños and the dudes out here in California, 13 is the numbers in the alphabet for M, for Mexican. So I guess the Black Hands out in, you know, in the system was like, hey, you know, you ride with us because they've been accustomed to that. You fall under us. But the MS-13 that came from El Salvador was like, nah, man, we ain't got nothing to do with you guys. We're our own entity. And to prove it, they end up killing the homie Gato. They were in a shoe and he was a celly with an MS-13, and his celly ended up killing him. So the word got back to us that, hey, Gato had passed. You know, that was the homie. Now, since then, it's jumped off on 3 different yards. It jumped off in Big Sandy, if I'm correct, McQuarrie, but he said the bloodiest one was in Bloody Beaumont. And, you know, as far as the Serenos and the Black Hand, they can't allow somebody to do that and not have any repercussions. But sorry, I'm just looking it up right now, right? The homie. So, you know, but in Bloody Beaumont, they got it in. Like I can't give you the details because I'm not sitting out here. I'm not trying to be out here making up stuff, you know. But I can just read you a little bit of what the homie that was corresponding with me was telling me. He said, yeah, the MS-13 from El Salvador are trying to break away from the Cali MA, but the MS-13 from Cali are trying to be faithful to the MA from California. So it came down to a civil war, Mesa. So that's what we got going on in the federal penitentiary right now. You got 2 different groups of MS-13 that are beefing, like the ones that grew up out here in California are loyal to the Mexican Mafia, where the ones coming out from El Salvador don't want nothing to do with it. You know, the MS-13 have hit the MAs on two other occasions in Big Sandy and Canaan. It wasn't McQuarrie, it was Canaan. But the Bloody Beaumont was the deadliest one, you know. So, me being out here, I try to do my part for the homies that's still locked up. Because as you guys know, part of my program, doing what I'm doing, is really hoping some way that I can get involved in prison reform and help some of the people that I've been locked up come home and help find a way to give them a fighting chance. I share these stories with you guys every day to let you know the environment that we're in. We're not in there just watching TV, playing video games, and all that other goofy shit. Maybe in the FCI or maybe in the camps or whatever, they're doing that. But in the USP, I mean, it's a war zone. Every day, there's something popping off. You know, you're forced into a box with dudes that you beef with on the streets. But for them, and everybody to get along and to coexist, we put policies in place, rules in place, so that we can function. But there's just some gangs in there that are never ever gonna come together or never ever gonna be on the same yard. And when somebody slips up and gets put on a yard that their opposition is on, they're gonna get butchered. It's a sad and depressing and fucked up environment for anybody to be in. But these my videos is to let you guys know this shit is real, man. And I hope you guys enjoyed the story today. Going forward, I hope to be able to record on this format right here. And like I said, I mentioned in the other video, I got homies on deck that is ready to come on up here with me to share their life stories and the crazy shit they've seen. My dumb ass, I'm still trying to figure out how to do it though with the Zoom and all that stuff. But I'm getting to it. I'm grinding away, and just to plug myself in, like you guys see right here, is my merch that I got coming out. My website will be up on the 18th, maybe around 11 or 12 o'clock Utah time. And for those that want to support this channel, those of you guys that want to support me and the journey that I'm going and the things that I got in the works that I plan on bringing to you, the content that I plan on bringing to you, man, I welcome your support. I welcome your love. Until then, welcome to the USP.